If you are looking to make money from property right now, and you want to avoid all of the noise these so-called gurus will make to confuse you to buy some overpriced training that you don't really need, this episode will show you exactly how Ryan is making some serious money that really only works in property right now for a small window of 1 or 2 months. That's it. Don't miss out on the greatest cash generating strategy that is working right now. This is a 2-part episode. Part 1 came yesterday and is around the strategy and how to get the deal. Part 2 is how to extract the money from this deal. Enjoy and make sure you listen to part 1 yesterday. Let me know what you think of this episode by leaving Ryan a review.
Okay, this is part 2 of the 2-part episode. In the early episode, if you haven't listened to it already, guys, it makes a lot of sense if you go back and just listen to part 1 of this podcast, because I recorded a previous episode that you do need to listen to before you can get the most out of this episode, because they go hand in hand. This episode is about how to find tenants that will pay you £3,000 a month for a property that you've just rented at around £1,300 or £1,400 a month. So you will make a net profit of at least £1,000 a month, okay, guys? So you need to go back and listen to the first part of this 2-part series in this podcast, because I share with you exactly how to do the other side of this, which is what comes first before the tenants, which is finding the property from agents and doing a deal with agents where you can find properties that are way below the market rent. I'm talking 50% below the market rent. So make sure you listen to that, guys, so you can get the most out of this episode. Okay, so here's how to get £3,000 a month for a property that you've just paid around half, around £1,300 or £1,400 a month for, okay? I'm talking, just to give you a recap, it was about student properties. They're fully licensed, fully functional, fully compliant HMO properties. Now, don't worry about some course you have to go on where they're charging you thousands to teach you how to buy a HMO, to buy a property, convert it into HMO, apply for the license, do this, do that, all the rules, all the regulations, fire doors, smoke alarms, spend 10 grand doing it. Forget that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about getting one all wrapped up, pretty packaged up with a bow around it, already done, and just handed to you on a plate, a fully functional HMO property. That's what I'm talking about, okay, guys? So, now we understand that, where we are. Excuse me for the noise as well. We're just giving it a little bit of welly up this hill. There we go.
If you're a landlord and you don't know how to increase your rent up to 199% using Booking.com, then you're making a big mistake. Because every £1,000 of rent is now returning £3,000 every single month on Booking.com. And you never have to evict a tenant again. I'm serious. Anyways, I created an ebook. It's called The Rent Arbitrage Machine. So I can show you exactly how you can increase your rent up to 199% on your own rental properties. Just head over to theyrentanyhome.com/freebook and just tell me where to send your free copy.
Okay, so now we understand where we were in the previous episode. Just to take you a bit deeper here now. Okay, so you've secured the property around about half the price. Now you have to rent it. We're talking student market, we're talking HMO, we're talking you've entered into the deal around September, where all the students, or most, or 99% of the students are already in. And now you're thinking, well, if they can't find students, the best agent in the city, how the hell are you going to fill it? Are you left with a liability around your neck that's just going to lose money for a year? Now, that is the risk, but you won't be taking that risk, okay? Let me explain why. All you guys need to do is what we do every single year. We relist a property for students at a lower rent, because you now have a massive margin of £1,200 or £1,300 a month or so you can reduce the rent even by £300 or £400 and still make £800 or £900 a month if you just reduce the rent for a group of students, so you've aggressively priced that property, okay? The second option to get it rented is offer to rent the rooms to students, which most agents won't do. They want one tenant or one group on one tenancy. And very, very rarely are they happy, excuse me, to rent the rooms, okay? So you break the tenancy up and you offer a license for everyone to rent the rooms individually. You might find 2 students, you might find a group of 4 students, you might find lots of individual 1s and 2s, or you might find one group for the whole house. When you have that flexibility, you've advertised it on, say, open rent, which is like 50 quid or £29 actually it is now, and then you have that flexibility to offer the whole house, all rooms from 1 to 5 people, if it's got 5 bedrooms, and break it up as and when you need to. You will have a much better chance of finding a group of students and reducing the price. So look at the market, see what other people are charging. Some people move into properties groups. They get in, they're there for a week or 2 weeks, and they're not happy. There's mold, there's damp, the landlord doesn't do anything, and maybe they just do a deal where they say, I'm not paying rent anymore unless you fix these things. Maybe the landlord releases them early. Maybe they've come from overseas. They haven't seen the property, they've landed, they've moved in, and it's nothing like was explained at the start. So many of these people that are already in, they may have a chance to jump ship. And if they see your property cheaper than the one they're in, they may come to you. That's another option, okay, guys? The next option is very easy. This is what we prefer to do. If we haven't found the group of students that we're marketing to, we turn it into professionals. So even a student rental property, we advertise it purely for professionals, okay? Or mature students. So these are people that are working and maybe studying. Now, let me explain what you get with that. You get someone who will look after the house better, someone who doesn't want to be around first-year students or freshers, the party people, the noisy people, and somebody who wants a decent home without all the shenanigans that comes with students, okay? Also, professionals, they are looking for accommodation all year round. Now, you can try and find a group that will take the entire house. So you're looking for a group of 5 professionals, but that limits your chances to finding 5 professionals in that short period to minimize your void. So you break the rooms up again. So you're advertising for students here, mature students there, the whole house for students there, the whole house for students over there, and then you're advertising it per room for professionals. Now, what you're going to get? 4 chances, multiple chances at finding a group or individuals to fill the rooms. And believe me, trust me, if you've put the prices aggressively for the first couple of rooms, or even the smallest room or the biggest room, you list at the smallest room price, so they see the picture, they come round, they're now in the house, they've had a look round, they've got the price, the big rooms entice them to come, they're now in the house, the price is for the smallest room, and then they get upsold themselves to a bigger room, which is basically more money. Anyway, excuse me, or the money you wanted. So there's multiple ways there to minimize your risk and minimize your voids and find the group, from a group of students to a group of professionals to individual students to individual professionals. That's 4 different options instead of 1. And then you can even do a hybrid, a mix of students, mature students, and professionals, okay? So you can have 5 different routes for people to contact you, and it costs £29 on each advert. £29. If you're going to make £1,000 a month, would you spend £29 5 times? If you wouldn't, then you're in the wrong market. If you wouldn't, you don't understand having all of these avenues to generate leads and inquiries for you to do the one thing at the end, which is the goal, to fill the fucking house with 5 fucking people, whether they're 1 group, 3 groups, 4 groups, 5 groups, or 1 group. It makes no difference. Your goal is to fill the fucking house. I hope you got some value from this episode. It's a 2-part episode. This is how you make, and we make £1,000 a month every single month by taking on student properties, HMOs, at a particular time in the year when there's very little demand, but there's lots of properties on the market. So that means you have the properties, and then you just have to go out and find the tenants, which I'll just explain to you how you can find those tenants. So I hope you got some value from this episode. That's how you make £1,000 a month from student properties. I would love to hear your thoughts.
He's a #1 Amazon bestseller. He's an NLP manipulator. He's a property course seller. He's a Lamborghini driving multi-millionaire property guru. Forget that same old boring I am me narcissistic podcast format, because nobody gives a fuck. This podcast is all about you. So I'm taking these few seconds to thank you for subscribing, to thank you for leaving your 5-star reviews, and thank you for sharing this show with all of your friends. My team and I will keep bringing you these episodes and answering all of your burning questions in my Facebook community group called Property Crash Course. If you can just keep telling all